Plan and work toward key events with Rally's Milestones. Whether you're trying to release a feature in time for a market event or simply wondering what got fixed in the last software deployment, Rally's Milestone feature will help you pull together all the information you need to manage your delivery. A milestone is like a tag but with an associated date. As with tags, you can associate one milestone with multiple work items, and you can associate a work item with multiple milestones. You can use milestones with portfolio items, user stories, defects, tasks, test cases, and test sets. You can also associate a milestone with work items in one or more projects, but you must call out these projects explicitly in the milestone administration. Once you do, you may only associate milestones with work items in the projects you've specified. To create a milestone, you must have project-level permissions or better. Navigate to Plan and then select Time Boxes. From here, choose Milestones from the drop-down options and then select Add New. Enter a name and a target date and then select Create with Details. Add a description. You may also add any notes you want to record. Select a color if you're using a color scheme for your milestones. For example, I like to create orange milestones to indicate future deployments and then change the color to green once the deployment has been released to production. Choose one or more projects that will share this milestone. Select the checkbox to choose all projects in the workspace, or select specific projects by opening the project hierarchy and choosing them one by one. If you hold down the Shift key and select a parent project, you can simultaneously select or deselect all projects in that branch of the hierarchy. Finally, select Create to save your milestone, Create a new to save your milestone and create another one, or Discard to cancel and discard changes. Once your milestone is created, you may associate it with other work items. Let's choose the stories and defects that will be deployed. Go to the Iteration Status page and select the items for a future deployment. In this case, we're going to deploy some bug fixes and some small enhancements that are ready to go out now. We'll release more of our iteration work in future deployments. Choose the artifacts to deploy, select the Edit icon, then choose the Milestones field from the drop-down menu. Then select the deployment milestone for these work items. These work items may also be associated with additional milestones, and we can set those now as well. For this example, I'm just focused on the deployment milestone. If I had test cases, I might also associate them with this deployment. Once the deployment goes live, it's helpful to push a message with a link to the artifacts contained in the deployment milestone. This is really helpful for support folks or other stakeholders who are waiting for specific fixes or improvements. Next, let's look at using milestones to track stages of feature delivery. Milestones are very useful for indicating the work that will be needed to vet a minimal viable product, also known as an MVP, or to get the GA version of the features over the line. In these examples, it's easier to associate portfolio items with the milestone. When you associate a feature, for example, with a milestone, then all its children inherit the milestone for reporting progress with charts, although in this case, the milestone does not show on individual work items in the feature. Here, I'll associate the work needed for this MVP release, and then associate the work needed for the GA release. You can see there is some overlap when you consider fundamental work that needs to get done in either case. The feedback we receive from the MVP release will help us know which additional functionality or changes we may want to offer in the GA release. As a small group of customers use our MVP releases, we can tag features with the GA milestone as they become more loved and refined. When viewing the portfolio items we'll release as part of the MVP, we can expand these features to see details of the work involved without having to associate every user story and defect individually with the MVP milestone. Now that we know which work we need to deliver for the MVP, how do we know if we'll be able to deliver it in time for the launch date? Select the Charts icon or the detail page for the milestone to track its progress and see details of how the work is coming along. The burn-up chart shows the progress of accepted user stories and defects as time approaches the milestone date. You can measure progress in the plan estimate values, or points, for the associated defects and user stories, in counts for those work items, or both points and counts. The blue lines indicate the scope and the green bars are the accepted work on a given date. The cumulative flow chart shows a flow of work in a milestone. This is helpful for both Scrum or Kanban teams who are looking for bottlenecks in their delivery process. Progress is depicted in points or work item counts for the flow field you want to measure. Examples of flow fields are Kanban state or schedule state or other stages of progress you track. In this example, I'm tracking the progress of work using the schedule state, and I'm choosing to show all the schedule states I used. If you have associated the milestone with portfolio items, the charts include all the user stories and defects for the portfolio item. Only leaf stories, those with no children, and defects are included in the measurements for points and counts. Roll-up measurements for portfolio items and epic user stories are not counted again. You can also add one or both of these charts to your dashboard by selecting the gear icon to add an app and then searching for a milestone. When you add a milestone chart to your dashboard, you'll only be able to track one milestone at a time, but you can add multiple charts to your dashboards. There may be times when you want to look at a milestone on a timeline in context with your scheduled portfolio items. To do this, check your project scope to include the project data you want to view, and navigate to Portfolio Timeline. Choose the portfolio item type you want to see on the timeline, then click the checkbox for Show Workspace Scoped Milestones. You will see the milestone superimposed on the timeline. You can click a milestone icon to see the milestones that are active for that date. Click the one you're interested in to call it out from the others on the page when you're having conversations about it. As with other fields, you may show milestones in your board and list views. Navigate to a view to select and show fields, search for milestones, then choose it and select Apply. Now you have additional context for your favorite views. You may edit milestones in the same way you edit other work items. Select the milestone ID to view the milestone in the Detail Editor. If you remove projects associated with a milestone, any associated work items from those projects will also be removed. Therefore, you'll be prompted to confirm these project changes. You may delete a milestone if you have at least project editor permissions for all projects associated with that milestone. Deleting a milestone will remove the association it has with work items, but the work items themselves are not deleted. To delete a milestone, navigate to the Detail Editor and select Delete from the Actions menu. If you've deleted a milestone by mistake, you can restore it from the recycle bin, but you'll need to associate it to your work items once again after it's restored. Congratulations! Now you know how to use milestones to associate your work with an event and track its progress. Try creating a milestone for your next trade show, beta release, or deployment and identify the associated work. Then track your progress against the milestone date. To learn more about Rally and Agile practices, check out our blog and community. Like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss new content as it's added.